Now, I know there are a ton of you guys wanting bed lights, whether it's adding more bed lights because you ordered the factory LED bed lights and you think they're worthless for lighting the actual bed up like I do, or you didn't get those and you just want some lights, period. So I'm going to try to help both of you guys today. We'll do things a little bit differently if your truck didn't come with factory bed lights, but the end result will be similar to what we're doing here. So the way this system works, it's set up only to supply enough power for these two lights. The computer can read the amperage, the current that flows into your lights. If it senses more power than these two lights consume, it shuts the system off. So if you think you're going to be clever, add some lights and go in and just splice it in, it's going to sense that extra draw. It's going to shut them off. They'll kind of flicker for a second and then shut off and they won't come back on. It's simple to defeat this though. We're just going to use a weatherproof relay because this relay consumes very, very little current to trigger this. And we're going to supply the power for the extra lights with our constant 12-volt source from our trailer plug. And normally, I would never want to cut or splice into the factory trailer plug wiring, because once you screw that up, that is a dark road to go down. I mean, you start messing with that, things get corroded. Now all of a sudden your trailer lights never work, your brakes never work. This happens to be an extension harness that was supplied with my aftermarket Rough Country bumper. So I'll see if I can find a link. I'm going to put links for everything I can in the description for the relay and stuff. I'll see if I can find one of these extension harnesses, but this was an unused harness, and when I saw it, I thought, you know what? If I tap into this and I screw something up, I can start over, and I didn't destroy the factory truck's wiring. You can always go grab another one of these or take a different approach. So we're going to plug that in up here. If you don't have the fifth wheel gooseneck towing prep, you can always use the factory plug that comes on all trucks that's down there in the bumper. Still going to work the same way. You just might have to add some length of wiring in. So we got several things we need to do here. So the first thing that I want to explain is I'm actually dividing this up. So we're going to have our rope light under that rail and this factory light. That's going to take factory power. So I spliced this rope light into this wiring harness, and that's good. On this side, I'm going to take the wiring harness, I'm going to cut it. So this light here and this rope light, they're going to be fed from the trailer's constant 12-volt source. So that's going to be the factory power. This is going to be trailer power. So on this here plug, your big fat one, which over here is the white wire, that's going to be your ground. And the red wire over here, which is directly opposite, so there is your ground, and then this guy on the bottom here, that's going to be your constant 12-volt. They changed the colors up over here. So over here, white is your ground, black is your constant 12-volt. But it's easy to identify because the big fat wide one is the ground. And then the one straight across from it on the other side is our black. It's our 12-volt. So I'll go over this more here in detail with you here in a minute. We're basically going to tie this relay into this harness, and then we're going to use that to split between the factory light harness. First thing we need to do though is crawl underneath, and we're going to unplug this wire so that we can pull it up into the bed and work on all this more easily up here in the bed instead of from underneath the truck. So this part will vary with your truck. This is a 2025, so they move things a little bit. But basically, here's our quick connect. Probably can't safely unplug this with one hand, but I'm going to unplug this, cut any zip ties I have holding it down here, and then we're going to pull this up into the bed. So we got our wire pulled up through here, so this is the end that plugs in down by the bumper. This goes into the light. So I want to show you my diagram here. give you a chance to pause the video so you can reference this. So this is the wire plug. This end right here would be this guy right here. And then this end would be at the light. So from the bottom, we can cut that ground off and cap that. I mean, it doesn't really matter for anything. You don't even have to cap it, but that's not going to be used. The red wire is going to be our trigger wire that turns the relay on. So that's going to go to number 86 on the relay, which is the white one in this case. From our light, we want that ground to be a good ground, so we're going to tie that in to our trailer white wire. We're also going to run the black wire from number 85 on the relay. That's the ground for the relay. And then for our power, you know, we're sending power out of this wire from the trailer connector. That's going to go to the red number 30 wire on our relay. And the way this works is when 86 gets power, it connects to the ground, and 85 connects that circuit. It throws the switch over, which closes the connection between 87 and 30, which lets this 12 volts go out of 30 and out of 87 through the blue wire and into our light. So that blue will get connected to the red wire. So I got a cut down here at the bottom. I happened to do all the wiring the first time underneath the truck. So all my connections happened down at the base. So I'm going to cut right here. And I'm going to start making all these splices. And it'll probably just be easiest to show you this when I'm done. Now, if you didn't have the factory LED lights, you're going to need a different trigger source, because you're not going to have this red wire coming out to trigger this relay to turn these lights on. So a really easy thing you could do, there's a light next to the tailgate handle. You could trace that power wire back and use that to trigger the relay. You could also just simply go back into the trailer harness to that constant 12 volt power, run that through a fuse into a switch, just like I got a switch on here for the tonneau. You could put a switch in. I sell these plates, by the way, in case you didn't see that. You can put a switch anywhere you want. Just make sure it's fused in case it ever shorts to ground, so that fuse blows and you don't melt your truck down or melt your wiring harness. And then out of that switch, you would run that wire to the relay for the trigger, which again would be the white or the number 86. The numbers are more important than the colors, because the colors are always going to change depending on the manufacturer. The numbers are a constant standard for a relay. So I'm going to get this cut, spliced, soldered, taped up, then I'll meet you back here. I should probably also show you how you pop these lights out and pop them apart. And since I have this one out, to get the quick connect pin off, you're going to take like a flat blade screwdriver and pry it between here and then rotate it and shove this white clip out that way, and then you kind of push down on that white clip and you can pull that off. Now, as far as getting these lights in and out both, there's a little trick each way, and make sure you install them the right way too, because you want the lights shining that way towards the front of the truck. Otherwise it's going to shine right into that pillar. So you can see this piece kind of collapses, it goes out. You're going to have a tool. I'm using some TIG filler rod. You push this through the hole and you push it into the center part, which pushes that straight and allows you to pull it out. Otherwise, it's like a Chinese finger trap. If you try to pull it out, it just collapses. It doesn't want to come out. So to put it in, you just kind of smash them together and work them in. And I would not do a final torque on these with the impact driver like this guy. You can get them started, but I would only do the final tightening with a wrench, or you will probably strip that out and break that insert. And I believe I forgot to mention, it takes a 7mm socket to get these bolts out on the LED lights. All right, so at this point we are done. I got the wiring hooked up according to my diagram. It was just a big ball of wire and tape and zip ties, so I didn't really see any benefit of showing that to you. But here's the end product. And I'll shut the lights off in the shop. So these guys, I mean, if you're just reaching in to this area, they're okay. But if you need to get up in the front of the bed, you're not going to be seeing much of anything with those rear lights. So these ropes, you can see where they start. I didn't even get the longest ones because I figured this should light up this area, and then the ropes can do the rest up front. Now, I was going to run 3. I really didn't want to have to run a relay. So basically you can run 1 rope without a relay. If you go 2 or more, you're going to have to add this relay in. So now at this point, now I wish I would have run the 3rd rope and put it up underneath the tonneau basket up front. But this will work. It's so much better than factory. I don't know why they don't just have some of these either at all 4 corners, or maybe even put that somewhere at the middle post so you have 6. I love it. It's going to work great. Hopefully the wiring diagram explanation helps you guys in how this all works. Get to it. We'll see you in the next video.